Hello, happy Wednesday. Yes, I had to look and see what day it is because the days are all running together, which is fine. It's a good thing actually, because for me that means that my husband just finished his last final today, which is a big deal. And it throws off the schedule because things have been different because he's been in finals. And that's a good thing. So good. Anyways, hello. Today we're going to be talking about integrating and healing the internal with the external. Instagram telling me to hang on. I'm not going to hang on because replays are a thing. So, anyways, so happy that you're here with me today. It's been a hot second since I've gone live and I just was feeling the need. So, I have so many things that I need to share with you today. So, we're going to start off talking. I'm going to share a little story time. It's going to get a little bit personal. It's going to get a little bit vulnerable for me. So, bear with me and enjoy my heart. So here we go. So I have been a dancer since the age of 3. You probably already know this about me because I talk about it quite a bit. Age of 3, my mom put me in dance and I started playing with choreography like in junior high, studied dance in college. I got my degree in dance I won't date myself, back in the day. I got my degree in dance, performed and choreographed professionally for a few years, and until we moved away from where that company was. We moved away and I haven't really found an opportunity like that since then. Man, seriously, if any of my TDC peeps are listening, I miss you. Those were the days. That was like the perfect company that I could have been a part of. Haven't found anything quite like that since then, and that's okay. Needless to say, moral of the story, movement has always been a really big part of my life. Always, always. Sometimes I get Italian when I'm talking. I'm learning. I don't know where that comes from. I don't have any Italian in my blood. Creative movement, especially, has always just felt like home for me. It's just home. So, in that, as I was studying dance in college, one of the classes that I was required to take is called somatics. And I wrote this down because people always ask me what somatics is, and I never have a good definition. So somatics is a field within bodywork and movement studies that emphasizes internal physical perception and experience. Sounds so good, right? And there are different modalities of somatics that can be used for improved performance as well as personal growth. I used it for both. I used it for improved performance as I studied and performed dance, and I used it for my own personal growth. Do you see where this is going? So good. So in a nutshell, somatics is like a form of movement therapy. And in my college days, I was only required to take it once for my major. I took it like 3 or 4 times because it provided me with something. It felt like it was calling me towards something. I felt like I needed it. I just felt very drawn to it. So I took it a lot of times. And that right there was the very start of my own personal growth journey. Didn't know it at the time. Hi, Geraldine. I love you. I'm so glad you're here. So through this movement therapy, through somatics, I explored approximately the crap out of my personal movement patterns. And I discovered a few things about myself. I discovered that I had blocks and breaks of energy in my mid to upper back and in my hips. And, I just love you, Geraldine. And my teachers could see it. My classmates could see it. We knew that I had these breathing issues. I had restricted breathing. I've even been to doctors to check out why I can't breathe properly. And I just kept trying to fix it. I could not figure out how to fix it. And at that point, I was trying to fix it, quotation marks around the word fix, through movement alone, because I was very immersed in dance. Dance was 100% my life. So I kept trying to fix myself through movement. And I just couldn't figure it out. Nothing was improving. It would improve maybe for like a brief glimmer of a second, and then I would just fall back into those similar patterns. Could not figure it out, and it was so frustrating. So I graduated college, got my degree, moved away, was not dancing so much. I in that period of life, after graduating until I got married and moved back to where I went to college and had more opportunities to dance, that phase of my life right there was the most severe depression that I have ever experienced. And I've talked about this before, so this is not new information, but I wasn't moving as much. I didn't have opportunities for dance. Funny story, I actually got on a dance. I discovered and got on a dance company right before I got married. I didn't even have an opportunity to rehearse with them. That's how that timeline played out, which ended up being fine because then it was shortly after that I got on the dance company that I got to enjoy for 3 years. Anyhow, I got into working out. That's what I chose to do. Since I didn't have dance in my life, I decided to start working out regularly because with movement being my first foray into personal development, I thought, well, okay, I'll just start working out. I thought it could fix me. We're going to keep putting quotation marks around that word fix. So, it didn't. Spoiler alert. I became a health coach, and then that's when I learned about the internal side of personal development. The mental side, the emotional side, right? I read all the books, I listened to all the podcasts, I took all the webinars, all the trainings, went to all the conventions, right? I did all of those things. Kana, hello, beautiful friend. I've just been talking about dance and all of our good college days. Anyway, so I dove really deep into the internal side of personal development. So, fast forward a few years, and fast forward to last fall, actually. So like 6-7 months ago. Somewhere around there, 8 months. I don't know. Math is not my forte. It doesn't need to be. I love your face, Kana. Stop. So, this last fall, September specifically, I was about to go through my Master Coach and Practitioner certification training, a 2-week intensive. I had a babysitter. I was going to be sitting here at this desk for like 8 to 10 hours a day for 2 weeks with 1 day off in those 2 weeks. Very intense, right? A couple of weeks prior to this training starting, that is when we found out that the baby that I had been carrying did not have a heartbeat. I found out that I had a missed miscarriage. And with this news, I considered just not going through the training because I was like, well, I'm going to be going through this. I don't know exactly when I'm going to officially miscarry. I just didn't know, and I didn't know if I could handle going through an intense certification training. But I didn't think on that for very long because then I realized that I don't know, it just felt really right for me to do it because I felt like I could use the distraction a little bit, but mostly the support. Because it was going to be a very intimate group of powerful women, many of whom I already knew and loved. And I know how good they are at holding space and supporting and, just providing whatever each individual needs. So I went through with the training and experienced my official miscarriage right about halfway through the training. So about a week in is when I miscarried. And at this point of my life, these 2 weeks, I felt like I was just being completely ripped open. Mentally, physically, spiritually, I was just being ripped open and exposed to life in a major way. It was not pleasant. And yet, it felt exactly like what I needed at the time. And the nature of this training that I went through is that we go through, as we're learning these processes, as we were learning all of these techniques and processes, we go through them, we experience them. So it's deep subconscious work. It's a lot of subconscious healing in that 2-week intensive. So with that subconscious work, if you're in a space where you're ready for it, where you're ready to heal specific things, those things that you may have forgotten about in years past can be brought up. I mean, repressed memories, that's not a new concept. That happened to me. I am still not ready to share any details about this. I considered it, but I'm not ready quite yet. Hello, Maria. Thank you for hopping on. I love you. I'm so happy that you're here. Anyhow, in a nutshell, through this process of being just totally ripped open, ready to heal, I experienced a resurfacing of memories of repeated past trauma from my childhood that I had suppressed. So since then, it's been really enlightening because I have discovered now, since then, I've discovered that that complex trauma that I experienced is what has facilitated restrictive physical movement patterns in my physical self. Clenched jaw led to my TMJ disorder that I still struggle with, which led to my restricted breathing. And I also have excessive tension and internalization in my hips. Many of you know that I had hip surgery, 4 years ago now? I don't know. Again, math is not my forte. It's been a few years. It's well known that we hold emotions, we hold trauma, we hold memories, thoughts, beliefs in our physical body. This is well known. We know this, right? If this is news to you, then here's the information. We hold these things in our physical form. And we even hold it for generations past. So when we release something from ourselves, when we allow something to release from our physical form, it also releases for past and future generations. That's a whole other topic right there that I'm not going to get into today. But just know that that's part of the neutrino stream that you might hear about in quantum physics or in human design. We are all connected. Everything is connected. I mean, it's just been in the last few weeks that I've discovered that my restricted breathing is because of my TMJ. My husband was able to teach me that because of the things that he's learning in physical therapy school. And I know that my TMJ stems from clenching my jaw, which stems from that trauma that I experienced. Do you see how it's all connected? Isn't that wild? And do you see now also why we cannot experience a whole self-healing or a whole self-integration if you're only approaching it from an external approach, or if you're only approaching it from an internal approach? You cannot heal all the aspects of yourself if you're only approaching it from a physical modality, or if you're only reading books. Do you see they all have to dance together and play together and be immersed as a whole unit? Maria says it makes so much sense. It's true, right? It's wild. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It really is. So now that I have gone through the process of attempting to fix myself through... Oh, Heather, I didn't even see that you were over here. I'm sorry. That sounds like my book. Yes, exactly. That's what I was trying to tell you earlier. It makes so much sense, right? So, as I've gone through this process of trying to fix myself from both a purely external and a purely internal approach, I have come to learn exactly how to intertwine them all cohesively so that I could experience healing as a multidimensional being. Not fixing. We don't need to be fixed. We need healing. Heather, that I'm reading, not like I wrote one. I got you, Heather. I know what you mean. So, all of this to say that this is exactly why I just feel so humbled, so honored that I get to provide you now with my proprietary modality of design flow. And again, if this is the first you're hearing about it, I'll explain a little bit here in just a second. Heather says humans are crazy cool. Right? I'm telling you. We are such cool beings. Human beings are so complex and dynamic and so freaking cool. Oh my gosh. So, design flow did not just appear out of thin air. It's not just something that I was like, oh, that sounds cool. I'll try it. No. Design flow came into existence because of my personal painful experiences. Painful and beautiful. This design flow was birthed from my bumps, my bruises, being ripped open to expose every inch of myself to my consciousness, to my awareness, so that it could be healed. Healing is a process. It's a whole freaking process. And allowing your inner and your outer self to work in tandem with each other. So allowing your physical, your mental, your spiritual, allowing all of them to work in tandem with each other as a whole cohesive unit is without a doubt the most immersive and efficient and effective approach to healing. So whether you have little t trauma or big T trauma or complex trauma, you absolutely have healing to experience. You don't need to be fixed because you're not broken. Conditioning. Conditioning is something that we are going to experience through the nature of life. You have been conditioned to hold on to certain beliefs and thoughts and feelings and patterns, right? Both physical, mental, and spiritual. That conditioning, sometimes it serves you, sometimes it does not serve you. Either way, it's not a problem. Conditioning is not a problem, and it does not deserve the bad rap that it always gets. Because I always hear people talking about conditioning through the lens of conditioning is bad, we have to move away from conditioning. That's not true. Without conditioning, we would have nothing to learn. We would have nowhere to go. The whole point of this life on this planet, this life you're experiencing right now, the whole point is to experience conditioning. That's why from the ages of 0 to 7, we are just walking subconscious sponges. We are soaking in everything. And then moving forward from that, we get to learn from it. We get to heal from it, because it's that process of healing, that process of deconditioning and returning to yourself that allows you to deeply love and deeply appreciate who you are and experience who you are. It's like we always breathe oxygen. We don't know what it's like to breathe something other than oxygen, because this is just what we always breathe. This is just it. We don't know anything else. We don't know what it would be like to be anything else. If we didn't have conditioning, we would just always be ourselves. We wouldn't know anything else. We're just ourselves, right? But this way, we are absolutely gifted with the opportunity to return and to remember who we are at our very core through the process of whole self healing and integration. Isn't that amazing? So all of those like limiting beliefs, disempowering thought patterns, subconscious programming, they're not fun, they're not comfortable, and healing from them is not fun or comfortable all the time. But everything that you gain through that process is worth it 10 times over, 100 times over, infinity over. It's more than worth it. So that is why I created Design Flow for you. And I'll be using design flows in various aspects of the things that I offer to you. Right now, the best way to take advantage of it and to utilize it and start experiencing that whole self-healing is through Elevate Your Design Flow. It's a $15 a month membership. Does not get any better than that. And when you join us inside Elevate Your Design Flow, you'll receive at least one monthly design flow based on the topic of the month. And this month of May, the topic is all about fun and playfulness, which feels so freaking good, by the way. So that fun and playfulness is the topic for the design flow this month. And it's a really, really good one. I'm going to say that about every single one though. So, take that for what it's worth. And you also receive one digital integration journal every month. That journal is what's going to help you seamlessly move between the physical and the internal aspects of growth. So you do the design flow, and that helps you move through the physical aspect of healing, and then you immediately go into the integration journal, and that helps you embody it. It helps you process it internally through your mental self, through your spiritual self. And then you can return back to the yoga, back to the design flow when you're ready. And then you take those things you just journaled about, and you get to feel them in your physical form again and pay attention to how it feels in your body. Is this not the coolest thing you've ever heard? I have never seen anything like this. I am so excited that this is now, it's available. Like, it's ready. It's ready for you right now. You could go sign up this second and go start doing your design flow right now. Right now. I know. So cool, right? So, first of all, for those of you who are already inside Elevate Your Life Insiders, you already have access to this. Okay? So, if you want to upgrade to a VIP option, that's an option. You can ask me questions about that. I'm not here to talk about that today. What you can do now is you can either head to the link in my bio. For those who are listening to this replay on the podcast, I will link it in the show notes. Or if you prefer to just head on over to your browser right now, just go to grow.elevateempire.co/insiders. And then you can go choose the Elevate Your Design Flow and get started now on your physical, mental, and spiritual healing. You were meant to be a dynamic and fluid and multidimensional being. You were always meant to be that way. And we were always meant to experience healing. We were always meant to experience the conditioning so that we could go through the deconditioning, so that we could return and remember who we are at our very core. I cannot wait for you to experience this. If you have any questions, you know where to find me. And I cannot wait to hear from you, and I cannot wait to hear about your very first experience with the very first design flow. I am going to leave it at that for today. I love you guys. You are incredible, and I'll talk to you soon.